Now let me go straight away into the questions. And ladies and gentlemen, you can rank questions that are already posted. You can like them, and that way they move up in the hierarchy. So I am now going to begin with our most liked question, and it is this, Jan. The question reads, how much liquid hydrogen boil-off is expected from importing liquid hydrogen from long distances? And how does that impact liquid hydrogen efficiency, cost-effectiveness, and availability compared with developing liquid hydrogen in the home countries?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and it has been a big topic also in our study. The expected hydrogen boil-off is about 0.2% per day, as a percent of the transport capacity for those large ocean-going ships. Of course, the real-world value at the end will depend on an optimization of costs. However, the boil-off gas is not as big of a problem as some people think. For the long-distance ocean-going vessels, the boil-off is usually used in the concept. I mean, those vessels don't exist right now, but the concepts usually foresee that the boil-off is used as propulsion fuel for those ships. So you do not actually use or lose the hydrogen, but you use it. And so it has not a really big negative impact on the hydrogen fuel costs at the end. Of course, regarding the question of domestic liquefaction, that always depends on the cost for electricity you have to pay to power your electrolyzer. In this example I've shown just on my slides, it's of course less expensive to have the liquefier located at the export country, because here the average electricity, daytime and nighttime electricity based on renewables, is expected to be a lot less than in Germany. But again, or at the end, the electricity costs for liquefaction are important, and that's to some extent a regulatory issue on which electricity tariff needs to be applied in Germany for such a facility. In our analysis, we have assumed 10 cents per kilowatt hours for the liquefaction in Germany, while for the result for the exporting country, in this case Morocco, I think the average was around about 5 or 6 cents due to the rather high nighttime electricity from those CSP plants.
Thank you very much. And I'll move now on to the second question that has come in and that has 16 likes. Why did you not consider the pipeline directly to the station for 70 megapascal fuel?
We did, actually. Overall, I think analyzed some 30 or 40 different fuel supply chains for 2 different years. And we also looked at the direct connection of transport pipeline and refueling station. And that's also included in our public report, by the way, which will be published end of this month or beginning of next month. And then you can also see those results. It's quite difficult. Despite the fact that we already have rather large refueling stations with 8 tons per day, it's quite expensive to build a pipeline from some national pipeline grid to the refueling station. And this investment in the pipeline has actually a really negative impact on the fuel costs. Even though we had really low-cost pipeline assumptions, so we said we have pipelines which are made out of plastic at low pressure, which are perfectly suited for those 8 tons per day. But still, the cost in euro per meter of those pipeline and digging the pipeline into the ground is rather high. And that has a negative impact. Of course, it depends on the distance between the pipeline and the refueling station. If you have the case of only having to bridge maybe 2, 3, 5, or 10 kilometers, it might be feasible in terms of costs, but the average distance between the pipeline and the refueling station is probably higher than that, and this results in high costs and high fuel costs as well.
Thank you very much. Next question is Germany the appropriate scale? Did you perform the sensitivity analysis Europe-wide?
No, we looked at Germany only in this study. However, the pipeline grid, which we assumed for Germany, is part out of the bigger picture European hydrogen backbone, which was published last year by the European TSOs and which had an update, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago. It's a sensitivity analysis to show how important it is. I mean, we all knew that hydrogen transport is more efficient, cost efficient, if you go high capacity compared to trailers on the road, and that's what we showed here. And I think there is not a big difference whether we would have looked at the European scope or Germany only.
Thank you very much. And another one that has come in and has 12 likes so far. What assumptions went into the liquefaction, e.g., how many tons per day are needed at the source? Is the technology actually available? And gaseous hydrogen tube trailer, e.g., did you consider the recent change in ADR that allows to transport 1.5 tons of hydrogen per truckload? What compressor developments were anticipated?
Yeah, oh, that's a lot of questions.
Indeed.
Well, first of all, for the liquefaction plant, we assumed large-scale 3-digit liquefiers, which are not available right now, or which at least are not built right now, with a rather improved efficiency, and that's just necessary to have those supply chains at all. That was, I think, the first part of the question, and the last part
right.
was...
A gaseous hydrogen tube trailer. Did you consider
yes.
the recent change in ADR, and what compressor developments were anticipated?
Yeah, we are aware of the changes in the ADR, and we increased accordingly the capacity of the gaseous transport trailers. Those 1.5 tons are, and that has been noted, is usually a net. Not a net, but a gross transport capacity. So you also have some pressure when driving the trailer back. So that reduces the overall amount you transported effectively. But yes, we have considered that. And also we have considered that those trailers are integrated in the refueling station. So the pressure you have in the truck is integrated in the refueling station, and a certain amount of hydrogen can be fueled directly from the trailer to the vehicle, so you can avoid additional compression costs. And I think those are concepts that are not actually currently built out there. So we have assumed improvements in terms of compression use at the refueling station in terms of concept. And for the last part also, of course, we have assumed a increasing efficiency and decreasing costs for the compression technology used for the 70 megapascal dispensing case. However, I must say, we have used in our refueling station design the pressure differential refueling, which is the current state of art of refueling protocols. In the future, it might be possible that you have the booster concepts becoming more relevant with new protocols, and that might impact on those refueling station costs in a positive way. So those costs could actually be reduced in the future. But we here use the state-of-the-art concepts.
Thank you. Then I have another question. What about government taxes on hydrogen? Are they included in your model?
No, we did not include any taxes or fees or levies, except for the electricity which is used from the German electricity grid.
Thank you. Then I have the following question with 8 likes. If a national pipeline infrastructure can reduce the last mile of road distribution to about 75 kilometers, should the number of liquefiers be significantly increased at the same time, or are the refueling technologies then mutually exclusive?
Well, yes, of course, the number of liquefiers needs to be increased. Right now, we have 3 locations in Europe where you have liquefiers installed. If we talk about 1.5 megatons of hydrogen per year, and if we would assume that all of that would be cryocompressed or liquid fuel, of course, we would have a lot of liquefiers with a high capacity located in Germany in case we have significant pipeline imports.
Thank you very much. Here is the next question. We have calculated a number of 180,000 electrical-driven vehicles to meet climate targets in Germany. How did you come to the figure of 35,000? From our point of view, it's much more dramatic.
I guess this question aims at the numbers of 2030, where we said it's 37,000 vehicles. Well, those are only the fuel cell vehicles. So you have battery trucks, and that only is the long haul heavy duty trucks. So you have different further vehicle classes that we did not consider in our study. Well, we considered it for the calculation of the greenhouse gas emission targets, but we did not include them in the fuel demand. So that fuel demand of 1.5, I'm not quite sure whether I was clear enough, is just for those fuel cell trucks in the vector classes 5 and 9, heavy-duty long haul. Of course, you can have additional light-duty vehicle and other heavy-duty vehicle, coaches, city buses, and so on. It's only the long-distance heavy-duty trucks.
Thank you very much. Then we have a question which hopefully I will soon be able to read again. My screen has just gone out, but it basically got at the question of whether in building new transmission lines and pipelines, we need to be adding technology that would allow 70 megapascal. Here we go. With a larger gas pipeline network, 70 megapascal hydrogen has the potential to become cheaper than liquid hydrogen. Would you recommend to add to each new large electric power line that has to be built a new hydrogen gas pipeline? And now, unfortunately, we're losing your sound. Are you on mute by any chance?
I'm sorry.
That's good.
I think that's better. I think that's a question that should be answered by the TSOs, by the gas transmission system operators. Their plan currently assumes that they can repurpose a lot of existing natural gas pipelines and adding, I think it was around about 25% in average in Europe of new gas pipelines. But even they say, okay, they have not done a hydrogen flow analysis for this European grid yet. So I guess even if you would ask the TSOs, they might not be able to answer that question. But from discussions out there, it seems not necessary right now to have a lot of additional gas pipelines for hydrogen transport in 2035.
Thank you very much. I think we have time for about one more question, so let me see if we can get it up here on the screen. Now we have it. Today's heavy-duty vehicles are fueled with cryo hydrogen at 350 bar. What are the reasons for the shift to 700 bar? Only the higher energy density?
Yes, I think that's the main driver, especially for the long-haul application we analyzed in our study. Here, you have usually driving patterns with more than 400, 500 kilometers per day, going all the way through a country or going back and forth. And here, 350 bar would most likely be not the perfect solution, because it just needs refueling more often. So, of course, it has to be decided for each application whether 350 bar would be sufficient for any fuel cell truck. Then that's fine. Then you can save quite some money for the refueling, because the stations are just not as expensive. But what we have learned is that you need for quite a large number of applications, you need this higher energy density, and even beyond that, maybe liquid or cryo-compressed hydrogen, because that even enables additional driving distance.
Thank you very much. And let's see if we can squeeze in just one or two more. The Clean Vehicle Directive leads to the investment in clean buses in 2021. We must decide today in which hydrogen technology to invest, not in 2025. Best guess?
No, I'm a researcher. I don't do guesses. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was worth a try. And one more for you, if I may. Were methanol and ammonia also considered for the tanker transport?
Not in this study. So I can answer, but without the background of this study, but of another study. we at our company have done such analysis, and we understand that if you want to serve the vehicle market as fuel, hydrogen fuel, then you usually have a disadvantage if you use ammonia or methanol for hydrogen transport, because you just have additional efficiency losses by conversion of hydrogen to ammonia, ammonia to hydrogen, hydrogen pressurization or liquefaction, and so on. So usually that's for the vehicle fuel application, not the perfect option.
Last question, I promise. How likely is it that a hydrogen pipeline backbone will be established, given that it requires significant investment? What are the current rollout plans? Briefly, if you would.
Yes. Those are existing pipelines, most of them. So repurposing is not as expensive. Based on the TSO plans from last year and this year in Europe, I think it's quite feasible that we will have a pipeline system like this. And actually, it's required to enable a cost-efficient hydrogen supply, not only to the fuel market, but also to the industry, and maybe in future also to homes and heating and so on.
Jan Zerhusen, thank you very, very much for this very informative and very interesting discussion. We wish you all the best for your further research efforts.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, Jan Zerhusen has shown that hydrogen can and almost certainly will be transported in both liquid and gaseous form.